we have another exciting one. Natasha Denona launched a new mini palette, the Mini Pastel, so I picked that up. I also had to pick up this Pastel Plexi Glow highlighter, and we're gonna play with it. As you can see, I'm still at my parents' house. I'm still using my vlog camera, so I am still on vacation mode. When it comes to this palette, I'm definitely not as well researched as normal, so if I miss anything, make sure you comment it down below. These ones are more casual on vacation mode, but I definitely wanted to go ahead and play with these. I couldn't remember if I had ordered it from the Natasha website or Beautylish. Anyways, I have them here. So we're gonna go ahead and just start off with the eyeshadow palette, and then we'll get into the highlighter if you're curious. But about the Mini Pastel palette, this of course is inspired by the pastel palette that came out this past year, which honestly I ended up loving a lot more than I thought that I was going to. The pastel colors weren't something that I initially thought I would wear, but I ended up being really inspired by the pastel colors, and of course I felt like Natasha Denona happened to produce the best quality pastel shadows I'd ever tried, so for that reason I was excited about this. I didn't get to do a shopper drop just because she revealed this on Christmas Day, so naturally I was busy. But a lot of you guys told me that you thought that this was ugly, like an ugly color story. I don't think it's ugly. I don't think it's the most beautiful, jaw-dropping palette I've ever seen, but I don't think it's ugly. I'm still excited about it, okay? So I believe these are 5 new shadows. Correct me if I'm wrong, again. Not as well researched as normal, but I believe these are all new shades. It's a limited edition palette. It's $27. Remember when they used to be $25? And I believe she created these pastel shades, which are supposed to be a little bit more saturated and intensified. That's what the Beautylish website says. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the box here. This is packaged how all of them are normally packaged. And then this palette's made in Italy, has a 24-month shelf life. And then you have all of the ingredient details, the shade details are down here, all of that. Now the palette itself looks like this. This is the typical packaging for Natasha Denona. Kind of hard to read all of the words on the back. Not that it's that big of a deal. You have the clear cover, which I like. I like how it's uniform with the rest of these. And then here are the 5 shades. So we have one duochrome shade right here, metallic, my nail broke, ignore that, a creamy matte, and then SM. What does SM stand for again? Sparkling metallic. That's what that stands for. Okay, let's go ahead and swatch these babies. So this is our duochrome shade, Aurora. Ooh, okay, and then we'll get into Twiggy and Ontario. Both of these are metallic shades. Wow, they look gorgeous on my finger. Then here's what they look like on my hand. So Aurora, the duochrome, I feel like was quite creamy, very pigmented. Twiggy ended up giving me a little bit more pigment. This is an icy baby pink. And then the Ice Sky Blue Ontario right here swatched a little bit weak. But I think it's almost more of like an accessory color for like highlighting little areas. We'll see. And then the last shades, we have an aqua green with a matte finish. And then this is the sparkling metallic. What do you think? It's not as creamy as the others. It's a little bit more hard pressed. But I did get a little bit more pigment with it, so it doesn't matter. Sorry guys, my vlog camera doesn't focus as well, so I have to swatch them off camera. But the matte swatched pretty nice, and then the sparkling metallic doesn't have as much of a pigmented base as I would like, but it still looks pretty. And I can see a little additional sparkle, but by far the sparkliest shade is the duochrome. I wish this sparkling metallic had a little bit more sparklies to it. Alright, let's work on this application. I'm going to do one eye off camera and I'll be back. So made sure I got to play with all of the colors on here, and interesting how this worked out. So I'm starting off with a BK Beauty A502 brush, and we're of course going into the only matte shade in this palette. And this is a very, very good matte. Obviously with this palette, you're not going to get a ton of depth, but you can see how vibrant and how much saturation is in this particular shade. Right? Actually, it has more color than I anticipated. And with this kind of like an aqua green, they did a good job describing this color. I'm also going to go ahead and apply it to the lower lash line as well while we're here. Not going all the way into the inner corner. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a clean brush. This is a Rephr 27 brush. It's a fluffier brush. And I'm going to haze out these edges. you can see how well this shade is performing, right? And it's definitely a buildable formulation because you can easily get a sheerer layer, and then you can also build it up in the outer corner like so. I think that's good with this shade. I really like the quality of this, and I think this color is very flattering for all of the shades included in this palette. I'm gonna go ahead and take Sea Star right here. This is the sparkling metallic. I'm starting off with this Rephr brush, and I just want to show you how it applies with a brush. A little bit more on the sheer side, you're going to get more luck with the finger, but it's definitely more sparkly on the eyes than it is in the swatch. Remember in the swatch I was like, you know, I thought it would be more sparkly. The sparkles definitely reflect more when they're on the eyelid. So I'm just placing this right in the center of the eyelid, but a little bit over towards the side because I wanted to use a bunch of colors today, so I had to make sure my little eyelid had some room. And then I wanted to give our duochrome shade the most love and see how this looked on the eyelid. This is by far the best shade in this palette. The quality of it is super duper soft and creamy, really pigmented, and again, it still is more reflective than the actual sparkling metallic. The duochrome is a little less noticeable. It's a mint with gold and pink metallic, and you can see that, but it is a little bit more subtle. I think it really depends on what kind of lighting you're in, but again, really pretty. Definitely applies best with a finger. And normally I wouldn't apply this shade where I'm applying it, but for the sake of this review, I'm going to take the Icy Blue shade. And this one swatched not impressive at all. It's better, I would say, when applied to the eyelid than it's swatched. But these shades that lack that base that I was talking about, honestly, it's not as important on the eyelid because these shades almost have more of a reflection on the eyelid, so they're more impactful on the eyes than they are when they're swatched on the arm because they're reflecting the light more, which is more of what a pastel can be about when it's a shimmer. So I just applied that to the area in here. Honestly, that's pretty though. And then I'm going to take a pencil brush into the pink shade, and I'm going to apply this to the inner corner as our highlight because this is nice and bright. And again, this swatch wasn't amazing, but you can see because it's a metallic, the reflection that it has against the sunlight right now is making it more impactful. I'm going to go back into the Icy Blue, put it on the center of my lower lash line, and then I'm going to finish off back in with this dark sparkling metallic. Just put it on the outer third of the lower lash line because this is what's going to give us some depth to the look. Because it's not a ton of depth in this palette, you know that going in and buying it, but honestly, it's not bad. It really isn't. I'm seeing Avatar today, so I feel like this is good makeup to wear to Avatar, right? Wow, this look is really pretty. Even though it's like a mixture of all the colors, is very, very pretty. Okay, let me do my liner and lashes, and we'll go ahead and play with the highlight next. Here's how the eyes are looking. I went ahead and used a dark green eyeliner, and then I used the Kiss Ruffle eyelashes, which are much longer than I normally do, but ooh, it looks so good. I actually didn't think this look was gonna turn out so pretty. Okay, we gotta talk about this highlighter though, because I've been really curious about this. This is the Pastel Plexi Glow Highlighter. It's kind of expensive. It's $42, but listen to this. It's featuring a translucent alabaster base enveloped in a wash of shimmering pink, gold champagne, and icy mint. There's a lot going on here. It delivers sheer glossy radiance in a lightweight gel powder formula that melts seamlessly into the skin. So the box it comes in is really nice and small. This product is made in Italy and has an 18-month shelf life. Size comparison, it's quite small. This is a Charlotte Tilbury powder, and that's just the box. Now the packaging of the product itself looks like this. It's very, very simple, but I think it looks really nice. It's a, I guess, magnetic closure. There is a little mirror, and here is the product. Doesn't it look interesting? I see like washes of pink and the minty shade in there based on how it's turned. It just looks really interesting. I haven't touched it yet. I've been dying to, but it definitely looks like it's a gel powder formulation. Let's see. Yeah, so no kickback here. There's what it looks like. Okay, let's swatch it. Okay. So I can see that alabaster base. And I feel like the pastel, like duochrome, isn't seen as strongly on my hand, but let's see how it applies and looks on the cheek. So I'm gonna use my BK Beauty 112 brush. Get it on here. Okay, so there is a little bit of kickback. I don't know if you guys can see that, but are you ready? Let's get nice and close. It almost looks like, at least where I am in front of the window, it almost looks gold. More than anything, I can see the hints of green. This is more wearable than I thought it was going to be, which I'm really happy about because I don't really use pastel highlighters. But this is like a greenish gold champagne shift to it. I don't see too much of the pink, at least in this lighting. But it's actually very, very pretty. It sits on the skin nice. It's not doing anything to emphasize texture. Obviously, it's a highlight, so there's texture there. It's not necessarily smoothing texture, but it's sitting on the skin really pretty. I mean, Natasha, just in general, she has a good highlight formula down. Let's put it on the other side. I wonder how this will work on different skin tones. It doesn't seem like too white based, and I honestly think if you have a deeper skin tone, the actual pastel colors might show through a little bit more. I'm not too sure though. I'm very curious. If you have a deeper skin tone, let me know if you picked up these, how they work for you. There's more depth to this mini guy than there is the full size eyeshadow palette, but this is pretty. This is a lot more wearable than I thought it was gonna be. I think it's really neat because I can literally see the pink and the turquoise color in this right here. It almost looks like tie-dye, but on my face, I think it's a very wearable color. Really unique, honestly. I mean, it doesn't look as unique on the face, but the translation from the pan was not what I was expecting on the skin. So if you were worried about this not being quote unquote wearable, it definitely is. But if you were hoping for something more pastel and out there, this is not going to be for you, because I feel like, I mean, you can see it looks really wearable, but these are the two products. I think they are both beautiful. So here are my thoughts on the eyeshadow palette. I think it is nice. There's a couple of things that I mentioned that you might want to take into consideration when it comes to application, but I do like this, and I think this is a cute little palette to bring with you to travel if you want something different, something more colorful, or if you're looking to expand the colors in your collection with high quality. This is good because it's only $27. It's not going to end up being my all-time favorite pastel little palette, and honestly, I see myself reaching for the colors in the bigger palette more, but I think the quality is fine. I don't think every shadow in here is 100%. Like, I wish this one had more of a base pigment to it. Same thing with this one right here, but they aren't bad. There's just things as a makeup lover and a makeup reviewer that I personally would have tweaked based on how I like to do my makeup. So it's not the perfect palette for me, but I think these are all very nice quality, and if it's a color story you're interested in, I think you'll like this. And the highlight, this for me was the pleasant surprise. I really like the tone of this. It looks really glassy. It's a beautiful formula. It's $42. You're gonna need to decide if it's worth it or not. I would probably say not to my friends if they were to ask me, but I actually really, really like it. $42 is a lot, but it looks really, really nice. So overall, I think this is a solid launch from Natasha Denona. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking that you have to absolutely run out of your house into Sephora to get, or to show up at Beautylicious Factory to pick up, but I do like it, but it's not my cup of tea. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review and found it helpful. If you picked up any of these products, let me know your thoughts down below, and also different skin tone. Please let me know how this worked for you. But I really do feel like the mini palette is a little bit more versatile for skin tones than the big palette is. But for me personally, I prefer the colors in the big palette. But I don't know. I'm talking too much. I just feel like talking because I haven't filmed in so long. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Have a good one.